You know, I've said before when I reviewed I Still Know What You Did Last Summer that the way you can tell if the movie is good or not is if you care about the characters. And I really didn't care about a single one of the characters in Terminator 3. Any of them. I didn't like any of them at all. They were annoying. And I find it quite convenient that at the beginning of the movie, Catherine Brewster, who's played by Claire Danes, she says, "I hate machines." And that was supposed to be a setup for what the movie was going to be about. You know, because the movie's called Rise of the Machines. Gee, couldn't have seen that one coming. But anyway, here's my review of Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Enjoy, or get hit by a bus. The choice is yours. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. The first time I tried to review this movie, I turned the microphone off. And that's only because, to me, it was so poorly written. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, the only reason I'm doing this is because I took some time off from being online, and John Ferreira recommended that I review movies while I was off. So I'm going to try to the best of my ability to review this movie. Here we go. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the famous Terminator. It also stars Nick Stahl as John Connor, and it stars Claire Danes as Catherine Brewster. The movie opens up with John Connor, who's now grown, and he's basically giving you this speech about how he's now living off the grid so that nothing and no one can find him. He's basically all depressed. He's emo now. No surprise there. But now he's taking drugs. And I guess that's kind of bad. He breaks into this animal hospital where he encounters Catherine Brewster for the first time in 10 years. He tries to hold her hostage with a fake gun, but that doesn't work because she discovers that it's a paintball gun, and she puts him in a cage. It is very difficult for me to speak about this movie because all Catherine Brewster did is complain during the whole movie. I wanted to kill her myself. If I were the Terminator, I would have let the Terminatrix kill her. Really, I would have. The Terminatrix was played by Kristanna Loken. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She was kinda hot. Her job was to kill any lieutenants that might assist John Connor in the Resistance. The Resistance is supposed to be some kind of group that fights machines and that stops them from taking over the world. But that's basically what this movie is about in a nutshell. The Terminator comes back to save Catherine Brewster and John Connor. That's it. That's basically the whole plot. It's just like the other Terminator movies. Somebody's trying to kill John Connor, and someone has been sent back through time to protect them. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. The Terminatrix is a cyborg that kills other Terminators, or as John Connor calls her, the anti-Terminator Terminator. It's not really much to this movie. It's the same old recycled BS from the other movie and the one before that. He ends up killing the Terminatrix. The Terminator kills the TX. And the one thing that the Michael Myers fanatic never understood is this. Ever since they made the Terminator into a good guy, he's constantly told people, "I am an obsolete design." He said this in the second movie, and then he said it again in the third. So the Michael Myers fanatic has a question. If he's such an inferior design, how come he won both fights? He beat the T-800 and he beat the TX. So he can't be that inferior. Why did he win twice? It's something to think about. Catherine Brewster used to know John Connor, but now she doesn't like him anymore because he's a delinquent, whatever that means, and she's married to some nobody named Scott Mason. The TX's job is to find Catherine Brewster and kill her. Then the Terminator goes into all this stuff talking about how he killed John Connor in this other reality or whatever. These characters were not likable at all. I didn't like John Connor because he was a wimp, always crying. This is your leader? This guy? He sounds like a woman. And Catherine Brewster, all she did was complain the whole time, and they were trying to save her life. Life is the most precious gift that anybody can have. They tried to save her life, and all she did was complain the entire time. If I were the Terminator, I would have just dumped her out the back of the truck and let the TX kill her. I mean, really. I would have done that, and that's real talk. The Terminator doesn't need saving. He's not human. His only job was to make sure that she lived, and all she did was complain. That's why I didn't like this movie. Do you know how annoying that is? That no matter how much you do for someone, all they do is complain? This movie sucked. Bad. Long story short, they find this cave in the Sierra Nevada mountains in some place called Crystal Peak, and the Terminator takes this bomb and shoves it into the TX's mouth and blows her up. This movie is really not worth my time, and 4 is even worse. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger is not in that movie. Nick Stahl is not in that movie, and Claire Danes is not in that movie. They were recasted. John Connor and Catherine Brewster. They were all recasted. John Connor was played by Christian Bale, I think his name is. I don't even know who played Catherine Brewster. Arnold wasn't in it at all. Long story short, the Terminator wins again. No surprise there. And then he says at the end of the movie, "We'll meet again." No, you didn't. You didn't meet again because you weren't in Terminator 4 at all. But I guess at the time they thought they were going to make another one with him in it. But they didn't. They claim that he's coming back in the 5th one. We'll see. I'm the Michael Myers fanatic, and I approve this message. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, really wasn't worth my time. An emo and a bitch. They used that to make a movie? You can find that on YouTube or Facebook. I know both. I'm out.